Welcome to Source Not Found, a show about the worst versions of your favorite things. Each episode, we explore an IP, franchise, or fandom solely through its sequels, spin-offs, side projects. Basically anything but the source. Hence the title, Source Not Found. I'm Brandon June, a.k.a. Fujin, the Wind God, because I'm a bit of a stinker.
And I'm Bo Woodall, and I am that sound that Sub-Zero makes when he is crushed by a pillar from the ceiling.
I'm familiar with that sound. I am way too fucking familiar with that sound.
I am 4 hours worth of gameplay familiar with that sound. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're covering Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero, a Mortal Kombat video game by the Midway Manufacturing Company. No Tobias on this one, just Boone, I think.
Actually, just Tobias.
Just Tobias, no Boone.
All John Tobias. Oops, all Tobias. And
oops, all Tobias.
That might, I don't know, that has me reconsidering the merits of their contributions to the franchise.
I really think under the circumstances, it's got to be both of them. They have to work together, otherwise they don't work at all.
Yeah, I was looking, and I guess John Tobias did like a lot of the character design and sort of high-level concept of the series, so I don't want to sell him short, but god damn, this game is a turd. We'll get to it.
This is the biggest pile of technological crap ever. But today, we're going to talk about this game because we've been talking about Mortal Kombat for the rest of the month, and we thought, hey, you know what? Let's play a video game because that's what Mortal Kombat does best. So today we're covering 5 facets of video games. We're covering narrative structure, gameplay, visuals, sound, and fun factor.
Spoiler alert, this game is not fun.
No, it is not. Do we want to go ahead and jump into some narrative structure where we cover basically the story and how it kind of exists in its own canon, I think is the best way to put that.
Yeah. So we have a prequel here. And I think the best way to set it up is to just start where we were expected to start back in 1997. And that's with the manual. You're sitting in the back seat of your parents' car. You're on the way home from the mall. You're just ripping off the cellophane. You're popping open that jewel case. You're sliding out this instruction manual, reading it from front to back, as you do.
Can you make it sound a little less sexy? Sliding out that manual, popping open that jewel case.
Deploy your phalanges to maneuver a papery codex out of a...
Okay, no, not that. Jesus Christ.
All right.
Get to the story, for the love of God.
So, I mean, normally the manual would keep you occupied. I had a long, lengthy car ride back from town, as we called it. You get to go town maybe once a week if you're lucky. Go to the mall. It's a drive when you live out in the middle of nowhere. And most games would have kept me occupied on the lengthy car ride home. This probably wouldn't have. It's pretty quick and to the point. Not a whole lot of...
Sure, yeah.
Not a whole lot of content in this one, except when it comes to the story. There is a 3-page setup for this game.
Jesus. Okay. Do we think there's a Spark Notes?
Honestly, to me, the story sounds like when like a 6 or 7-year-old kind of like corners you and tries to explain like something you have no conception of. Like, hey, can I tell you about how my Beyblade Transformers evolved into a Roblox Yu-Gi-Oh? And just like, yeah, okay.
Like when one of your friends explains a dream they had while they were on like, I don't know, ayahuasca.
I mean, the only way I can... Should we just like read through the story? There's only one way to read through this story, and I think it is in that sort of breathless little kid delivery. It's the only way that makes sense to me. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
Let's play a game.
Let's give it a try.
I'm going to read this as a 7-year-old would, and I want you, when you just can't take it anymore, you just say, finish me.
Sure.
And
All
I'll
right.
stop.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Sure.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm just going to roll.
Go with it.
Thousands of years ago, Shinnok existed as an elder god. The elder gods are true rulers of all realms. They watch as worlds are created and destroyed and govern the realms with untold eons of wisdom. Shinnok, he gave in to greed and illusions of false power by the new realm of Earth. If he could have that realm to himself, he would have the power unmatched. He first would have to face the young god of thunder known as Raiden. Now, Raiden was appointed as Earth guardian by the elder gods themselves. Their battle for the realm of Earth was fierce, causing the planet's near destruction and plunging it into centuries of darkness. Raiden soon discovered that Shinnok entered the realm through the powers of mystical amulets. amulet. It allowed Chinook to enter the realm without challenge and keep the other elder gods from intervening. The amulet could only be created once, and Raiden stripped it from Chinook's possession. With the aid of the true elder gods, he banished the fallen god into a place known as the Nether Realm. Raiden buried the amulet deep within the mountains of Asia. He then created a massive temple within the mountain to house the amulet and appointed 4 guardians and protectors of Chinook's sacred amulet. Each guardian represents one of the 4 elements that make up the realm: wind, earth, water, and fire. As long as the amulet remained on Earth, Chinook would be trapped, forced to remain dormant for the rest of eternity. Over the millennia, the Nether Realm has had many rulers. Most of them are forged within its fiery pits, eventually ripping their masters mercilessly from their thrones. One, however, came not from the bowels of Nether Realm, but from the heavens of reality. He was the fallen elder god known as Chinook. Upon entering the realm, Chinook found himself immediately under attack by its then ruler,
Okay,
Lucifer.
finish me, please, Jesus, finish me. Holy crap, dude!
I'm not even halfway done, baby.
I can only imagine what amazed me about that is it had a flashback within a flashback in a manual. Like, this is the game manual, and it's like, hey, I know that you are, let's say, 12 years old, and we're going to go ahead and flash back to Chinook before Chinook, but Chinook also had an amulet that was given to him by Ray. Holy shit. Okay.
We didn't even meet Quan Chi. That was the next paragraph. Couldn't even get to Quan Chi.
Quan Chi is what, like Shao Tsung's stepdad?
Sure.
Like there's look, everything that involves Mortal Kombat has a sorcerer and a god, and the sorcerer is trying to free the god. That is what is happening here. Quan Chi is trying to release Chinook.
No. Quan Chi is a free-roaming sorcerer. That means that he can travel to various planes of reality without detection from their gods. It also means that over the years he has obtained great power. Aware of Chinook's dilemma, Quan Chi traveled to Netherrealm and then offered the god...
Offer the god what, Brandon?
Unfinished?
No. Yeah, okay, so... Before we jump directly into it, I have to say there are 2 points that I would like to mention. One, we have the amulet from Rovin's book, but it's a different amulet. Apparently, amulets are a big deal. I wasn't aware of this.
We have the amulet from Rovin's book, and we also have the exposition style from Rovin's book. Because
Jesus Christ, you're not kidding,
we just
man.
went through. We got part 1
but
right
also,
here.
So back at Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which... if you haven't listened to episode 3, go back and listen to it because it's a real good time. But they only mention 3 elder gods. They never talk about the earthen elder god.
They probably just didn't have the technology to put this big rock god on screen.
Yeah, what an asshole. We're gonna get that in a second. But
fucking it's clobbering time already.
Yeah. But there's also the fact that, like, it's hard to say that you have an earth god when there's also an earth realm.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
it's a little tricky.
Not great. But yes, so narrative structure, let's cover it. Oh my God. I completely forgot. Gang, hold on real fast. So for each of these categories, we are going to give them each a 10 point, like out of 10 point rating. And then at the end, we will add all those up. It'll be up to 100 points because 5 times 10 equals 50 times 2 people equals 100. That is Shang Tsung math right there, baby. That is a
one
Kung Lao Soul
plus 1
yeah.
A lot of ones. You're going to hear a lot of ones. 1 plus 1 plus 1.
You're going to hear a lot of small numbers. But the narrative structure in this game, yes, is focused mostly around the guidebook and the holy shit live action cutscenes.
Oh, these are so good. So good.
They are
they're of porno quality. Like, I kept waiting to see little Quan Chi just like get taken out because like this is a porno without the sex. The costumes, the delivery.
Maybe like a community TV station, like the high school TV that used to play in homeroom or something like that. Like, it was that level of acting, costuming, design.
It's bad. It's
CG.
Gloriously bad. Yeah. I think it's
glorious
somewhere between...
is a strong word.
Huh?
Glorious is a strong word to use there.
I loved it. I mean, it's like if you're gonna... I'm actually a big fan of the FMV era. They're the shittiest games in existence, but like Night Trap and even just like even the original Resident Evil, those cutscenes, like I love it. Just special time and place.
FMV games have like a very special place in my heart, just for the the work put. I mean, obviously, work is put into every video game. Jesus, we know this, but FMV games, especially, it's noticeable when the work is not as enjoyed as it could be. And
yeah,
I don't know about this one, man.
The thing is, like, Spirit Halloween, not just in like costumes, but like if that could be a category of acting prowess, level of investment, the level of investment in this performance as the Spirit Halloween cashier has in your purchase, in your consumer experience. They're checked out.
Most of the characters wore their costumes, and that's it. Their costumes and their makeup were their characters. But something interesting, this game narratively is canon.
Right.
It is absolutely canon in the Mortal Kombat universe. Quan Chi and Chinook are both in the games. Most of the other characters mentioned, like Fujin, Melina, that was I think her name was Serena. It was Serena. Serena, Quan Chi, and Chinook, they are all in future games. Like, these guys came into being in this game and continued moving forward. So there is a narrative weight to this game that it does not deserve.
Yeah, I guess this was their next phase of Mortal Kombat, rolling out with 4, right? We have a new big bad with Chinook, and just like, we're going to bolster that with this tie-in game that sets up those events.
Yeah, this was supposed to be an entire series.
Yeah, right. Mythologies, plural. This is one of many to come.
The next game was going to be, I believe, Kano.
Oh, really?
Yes. And then they were going to do Scorpion, Johnny Cage, etc., so on and so forth. The problem is, this game got so many bad reviews critically and by players, they shut down the entire Mythologies subsect of Mortal Kombat games. For good reason.
Yeah.
So let's quickly talk about the narrative structure of this game and why it functions and if it does function. So what did you get from this game narratively?
The story is barely story, which is fine for a game like this. Like, just set it up and get me into the action usually, right? With like a platformer, side scroller like this. It doesn't have to be much. So I think I will be a little more forgiving on that front. And like I said, I enjoyed the live action cutscenes. And that's basically how you get 90% of the story. There's not really story conveyed through much else. It's basically just these interstitial cutscenes at the end of every level. Yeah,
everything else is so incredibly samey. Yeah. And, as we continue, for those of you that haven't played the game, it is a side-scroller platformer beat-em-up, but it also involves a few very small RPG elements where you gain Sub-Zero's powers as you go through the game.
Yeah, very small.
Yeah, very small amount. But that's how it functions as a game.
Yeah.
But yeah, the narrative is entirely through those cutscenes, and on occasion you'll see something in a level. Mm-hmm. But when I say on occasion, I think maybe twice in the, I don't know how long it took you to play through this, but it was like maybe 16 hours for me.
I stopped counting the hours because it was too painful to be reminded of how much of my life I'm not going to get back.
Yeah, everything was sad.
So, I mean, basically it's, I don't know, in 2 words, can we look at Ernest Hemingway's challenge, the 6-word story, and do it in 2?
6-word story. Quan Chi want release Chinook, bad.
I can do it in 2, I think. Amulet fuckery.
Sure.
Just a lot
Amulet fuckery is good.
We're about to get our grubby little fingers on this thing. Oh, taken away, swiped away by someone else, whether it's Quan Chi. Yeah, just
man, it was the weirdest MacGuffin bullshit. So the point was for Quan Chi to get the amulet to release Chinook, and he hires Sub-Zero to do it. But he also hired Scorpion to do it, which is the only reason we have the first level.
Right, but you gotta have the dynamic duo.
Scorpion versus Sub-Zero.
Right.
Yeah,
gotta have that. And they pull that ripcord real early.
Yeah,
it's not much of a first
real
level.
Early, you mean the first level, which is horrifically short.
This will probably be in gameplay.
Yeah,
in theory, horrifically short, but when you get smashed by columns as many times as I did, it actually takes a while. But so generally, yes, we're after the amulet. We've got a Quan Chi, is a sorcerer, like we mentioned. Basically, looks like what are they called in Hellraiser? The Cenobites.
Yeah, Cenobites.
Basically looks like a Cenobite by way of like if it were reimagined as like a walk-on villain in Farscape or like another Sci-Fi Channel original series.
I had a lot of Farscape vibes from Quan Chi, except for his voice modulator, which I thought was absolute dog shit.
Oh, not that same modulator they put on everybody, like the literal like frog in the throat, like hyper compressed. Like it's
they didn't put it on. They didn't put it on Serena. Her voice was au naturel, and it was bad too.
Well, yeah, that's true. But Raiden definitely got. Oh, Raiden, they turned it up to 11.
Dude, Raiden was whiter than Christopher Lambert's Raiden was. That's a real hard thing to do.
I have a newfound appreciation for Lambert's performance after this Raiden.
But so the whole narrative structure of that was based entirely around these live action videos, which were kind of fun to watch, but when mixed with the gameplay, just took more out of your soul somehow. Brando, what would you rate the narrative structure for this game?
I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10.
You are being very, very polite. I went with a 3.5.
Well, you know, we're close. I have more of an affinity for live action, so maybe that's that extra 0.5. To me, like I said, the narrative is sort of secondary in a game like this. It's all about the moment-to-moment action, the mechanics, in theory, given a game that properly does that. We'll get to that. So the setup was, it's fine. It's enough to get me in the door. And I had fun watching the shit show that was the live action cutscenes. If this were the N64 version, I think that drops down to a 2. Because the N64 version, by nature of it being on a cartridge, it's still frames and text.
Still frames. Yeah.
So you don't even get that.
Yeah, that would have dropped it down to like a 1.5 for me or a 2.
Yeah.
The reason I think maybe I am a 0.5 lower than you is the guy who plays Quan Chi is the guy who did all the rotoscopes for Kano. And he also does all of the voices for Kano in future games. Like,
no
just
kidding.
get a new guy. Get a different guy.
He's also Shang Tsung at the end of this game.
Is he really?
That's Quan Chi. Look at that gap in the front teeth. That's Quan Chi.
Are you fucking...
In fact, I was looking through, I guess we're jumping ahead, the final scroll, the credits. I was reading through the credits because I was noticing some familiar names. Like, oh, we had people doing multiple things on this project. So,
well, yeah, John Turk as Sub-Zero. He's also the Sub-Zero who is the rotoscoped Sub-Zero.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they grab the dudes from the game to play the guys from the game. Also, John Turk is thick as hell, and THICC. Holy shit!
Right. This week's what do I want to say? This week's fangirling is I'm sorry, Johnny Cage. We're over you. We're on to the next big thick boy.
We're on John Turk's glutes.
Yeah,
because
so
his acting's not great, but his ass is dead on.
A lot of if you look through like the voice cast, it was someone named Carlos Pesina who was both doing voices and working on.
Did you say Carlos Mencia?
I can't. No, you can't even do the ironic like impression of him.
No,
He's got nothing. No,
there's nothing left in the tank there. Yeah. See you, bud. Hit the road.
So Carlos Pesina was doing both graphics and voices. Graphics alone, I feel like that's a full-time job. So, okay, that explains that. And also,
there is no reason this should have been worked like an indie game.
Right, with the backing of Midway, this like one of the most popular franchises in gaming, and you got people just moonlighting as voice actors.
Yeah, there's no reason they should have done that.
He showed up in a couple places. Herman Sanchez was doing both voices and logo design, I guess. There's someone named Buppy DeVizio who's on the voice cast.
I'm sorry. Can you say that name again?
Can I? I don't know. Let's see. Let me muster my faculties here. You know, and I was even ready to just keep rolling. Just I didn't even bat an eye. Your reactions is setting me off here. Buppy DeVizio. Let's take an ad break as Bo recovers.
So no, I'm fine.
Might need a moment.
I'm fine.
All right.
Fuck.
So we have Buppy DeVizio. We also have Richard DeVizio, Quan Chi, Shang Tsung, and also listed in the credits EFBE, which I was like, what is EFBE? is that a character I missed? So I went to Reddit, and apparently this question has been asked by someone else. I guess we're not the only ones invested in this tale. Reddit's best guess is EFBE is every fucking buddy else, which explains him playing all the other characters, like Shang Tsung.
Oh, I was gonna say like every fucking bad evil guy.
Maybe that.
Like I was trying to figure out like, but every fucking like bad or body was in my head.
You're a couple steps ahead of me.
That, I mean, he seems to be enjoying his work more than anyone else. So, you know, good on him.
He's relishing the Shang Tsung like that.
I am absolutely fucking mind blown that he is Shang Tsung. Absolutely destroyed.
I mean, what do I want to say? Like research, verify, but I'm thinking that's the same guy. Can't really tell you for sure. Like he's relishing the what do you even want to call it? I mean, he's got like the kind of Pai Mei fake beard.
I was gonna say he looks like an Asian stereotype in a 1950s Captain America comic book.
Yes, I was getting like Fu Manchu vibes or something, right? Like
yeah, but much more racist for some reason. Like it was some weird choices.
I think it's the male pattern baldness really doesn't help with that. You need the Pai Mei luscious head of locks there. Like you need the Pai Mei full on head of hair to make that work.
Yeah, that beautiful long Shang Tsung hair that he most certainly deserves.
He was incongruously skull-like.
He was definitely that.
So
okay, so let's move on to gameplay.
Yes.
So we've got between the two of us, we have a 7.5 for narrative. Okay.
Does not bode well.
No, it does not. Let's go into gameplay.
I'm just realizing we have an oversight here. We should have better prepared for this show. I wasn't clear if we could give negative scores now that we're hitting gameplay.
Yeah, I thought about trying to do so, but I feel like we're both pretty positive. We're both glass half full guys.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
it's actually not so bad.
Everything. Yeah, but no, it's bad. I'm going to go ahead and start with saying my gameplay score was 1.5.
Okay. I did a 3.
Really?
But I'll let you. Yeah.
Okay, so it took me 4.5 hours to get past those stone pillars in the first level. Now, I don't know if this was because I was playing an emulator, but I was playing an emulator. I changed the controls to where the controls were the same on the controller I was using to what it would have been on a PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
I was also using an original PlayStation controller USB plugged into my computer.
Nice.
I got one of the PS
more attention than it deserved.
I got one of the PS Minis back when they were available.
Right on.
So I have like the USB plugged in original PlayStation controller, and I was like, this is the best way to play this game. No, it's not. It's not at all. Because there are buttons that should not exist to do things that you should just be able to do. Like to run, you have to figure out what buttons to hold and then to press them and to hold them in conference with the other buttons you're pushing to even be able to run. And you cannot get past those pillars unless you know how to run.
But also you can't get past them if you are running because you have to like quickly.
You have to like, kick them first.
Yeah.
So they shoot down and then you have to run past them as they start to rise.
But then stop immediately, like take your foot right off the gas and brake it. Because if you go
right off
slightly anywhere within the sort of general area of that second column, like anywhere close, it's going to knock you back.
Instant killed.
And well, if you get if you graze it slightly, right? Because playing like Mario and other platformers of the area, right? Like, oh, let me just like brush up against the column, wait for it to descend, and then like zip through. But if you do that on these columns, if you're even close,
they knock you back into the other column,
and then you get smashed by the previous one. It's just it's
ruthless and
sadistic.
unforgivable in a bad way. Now, I will give it this: you can freeze one of the Shaolin monks and push them into the column.
You can do that,
and then the column will fall, and that's kind of nice. Guys, we're just talking about the first level here with instant kill columns. You have unlocked none of Sub-Zero's abilities. You only have basic controls, and you have no real base. It was like playing a roguelite. Like it felt like I was playing a roguelite, except the problem is you only have 4 lives, and then it's game over. And you don't go back to a checkpoint, you go back to the beginning. of that level.
Mortal Kombat Dead Cells, as in dead brain cells, because I feel like this game lobotomized me.
Yeah.
I think we should explain, because a lot of people aren't familiar, from a high level, basically what this game is. We mentioned it's a side-scrolling sort of platformer of sorts. It's the attempt to combine a side-scrolling platformer with the Mortal Kombat fighting game mechanics, which I really like that idea. There's something there. You basically have Sub-Zero's full suite of moves. You have a high punch, a low punch, a high kick, a low kick. You have a button that determines your orientation, changes your stance from left to right.
That was so fucking annoying and so bad.
Tell me about it. Because so you have like this full suite of moves, and that occupies a lot of controller space. So they make a lot of sacrifices to accommodate that, and they pull from places that you shouldn't pull. Namely,
especially in a platformer.
Yes. We are talking about a platformer without a jump button.
Yeah.
The way you jump is to hold up on the D-pad. Just imagine in a proper game how that would take a certain level of precision and practice on the part of the player. And then imagine that, like, when this is developed by people that just don't give a fuck about refining that to any degree of fun.
And I would like to point out, on the original PlayStation controller, there is no up diagonal buttons.
That's right.
There is no D stick. There is only a D pad. So there is no up and right. Mm-hmm. It is up and then right, or right and then up. So just imagine how you are functioning in that way. It's bad. And the fact that you have to change your orientation with a button instead of just turning around on the D-pad is the dumbest shit that has ever existed in a game that is supposed to be a fighting platformer I have ever seen. I died so many times because I could not turn around in time.
Yeah. And sometimes there's an input delay, so like you'll hit it and then he won't turn. You'll hit it twice and then he'll just like kind of 360 and you'll be facing away from your opponent and just get your ass handed to you or knocked off the platform.
And there is no forgiveness.
No.
I will say it's very funny when one of the bad guys hops off the platform and they just fall to their death because there's no like arm waving or anything. No, they just jump off and fall.
Yeah. The AI is so fucking stupid. Half the time you just like get right up in their grill and they just stand there and look at you for 6 seconds. And then other times they're just like, where did you come from? We're suddenly on like extra nightmare difficulty. Like they're just.
Yeah. Oh, so I did find this out. The difficulties. Do you know what they changed with the difficulties?
What?
5% of damage.
Okay.
And how often the enemies block.
Got it.
Because if an enemy can block everything, your ice blast, your slides, you name it,
I know.
they can block it. And that is absolute dog crap. Like, just, I'm trying to play okay, I'm going to get carried away about how angry I am about this game very, very quickly. And that is not where I want to go.
Well, yeah. One thing I wanted to say about the mechanics.
Sure.
When I started this game, like I said, I thought it was promising. You know, I'd read through the manual, like, RPG mechanics and combining a fighting game with a platformer. There's a lot there. I still maintain that, which is my slightly higher score. There was an attempt at something here. And so changing the stance with that button, at first I thought, oh, maybe this is a way to get around that, right? To allow you to have this full selection of moves and to like fit that into this platformer box. Like, is that the only way? But then I actually went back and played some of the original Mortal Kombats. It had been so long. It reminded me that, yeah, I really don't like those games. They're stiff. I'm sorry to the fans. I love the characters, the atmosphere. I love a lot about them. They were awesome at the time. Not fun to return to for me. And I love returning to like Street Fighter and other games of the era. Play a lot of retro games. But Mortal Kombat is just like not a great game in my opinion. At least those originals. And it feels stiff. This is even stiffer than that. But the thing is, in those games, there's no changing the stance. Like, you just automatically face your opponent. In those fighting games, like, there's no button to change your stance. So, like, it can work in that regard. I was wondering, like, is it because there's multiple enemies? But in most situations, you are only facing one enemy at a time anyway.
So I have a question about that. So you made it to the Earth level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you make it all the way through?
I did, but I used a password a couple times because, like, I couldn't.
Yeah, I used a password a lot. I did not beat a few bosses, but I have played every level and I have fought every boss.
Yeah, same.
In the Earth level, going down that there's like a chasm that you climb down a rope, and there are spikes coming out of the wall.
Yeah. No, I know it.
You can't change your direction with the D-pad, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had to change stance.
Yeah, on either side of the rope.
Yeah. You have to change stance, not what direction you're in. Oh my God, dude, again, 3 hours in one fucking tunnel.
Yeah. Just stuff that other platformers had figured out by this point, right? It's 1997.
Definitely. Give me some fucking Rayman, or give me Spyro the Dragon. Anything.
This is the same year, 1997. This is the year Symphony of the Night came out. Castlevania. Like the pinnacle of... So just unforgivable to not get the basics
absolutely.
Right.
And not to mention the fact that there were no real, we cannot consider this a Metroidvania. Like, there were no items that could increase your power. There were RPG elements that would give you new move sets.
Right.
There was no way you could acquire armor or a weapon, despite the fact that Scorpion got weapons whenever you fought him for the second time, which I thought was crap. But
yeah, the only thing
doesn't matter.
The only thing they really have are some of the winding pathways of a Metroidvania, just like sort of labyrinthine. Later on, very labyrinthine level design, but like no reward for exploration, just tedium.
Dude, that not the fortress and the prison of souls.
Oh my God,
just there's no reason for it. Like,
there's no reason for any of it. Just pack it in, just like cut to credits.
Yeah, I think that's why my gameplay score is so low, is just the fact that it seemed like they were trying to do two very, very cool things with a very, very cool franchise, but instead they took those two cool things and made them into something that is so not cool. Like, none of this was a good time because they tried to do too much shit.
Yeah, I agree.
And that is unfortunate.
So when I give a score, I'm a teacher for those who don't know. So out of 100, right? This is familiar to me. 60 and below is a failure. So already, like, if it's below a 6 in my book, I find that to be a very bad score. Like, you did not complete the assignment. When we get into like the 30s and 40s, like, oh, you didn't understand the assignment. But when we get to a zero is a blank page. And this is not a blank page, as much as I fucking hate this game. Maybe the worst I've ever played. It's not a blank page. It does function. Like, it's bad design choices down the line, but there weren't a lot of, like, beyond that, like, technical issues. Like, okay, the design that you envisioned for this game is executed. Like, it's a bad design, but, like, the punch is connected. Most of the time, if I was aiming to land on something, like, it was user error because of the difficulty, but, like, I didn't, like, clip through floors. So you get a point there. You get a point for the ambition, the core idea there. There's something to explore. And then, I don't know, like, I think the third point is when I finished, I actually watched someone speedrun this game in about 40 minutes. And speedrunning will make anything look fun. But, like, watching someone that had, like, been through this game and practiced it, gotten it down to a science, like, you know what? If you were really masochistic and you wanted to spend the time it took to perfect, memorize this level and the combos and all that, like, it looks fucking cool. And I think that would have some fun for you. And I think, like, there's a very high skill bar to get over to enjoy this game that I don't think is worth trying to achieve. But if you were to achieve it, I think there might be some fun to be had there. So a theoretical extra point.
I also watched a run through of this game. And even with someone who has professionally played this game several times, they still died 3 times and they still got lost.
Yeah. The 40-minute speed run, like, they were eating shit at a couple moments at some of these bosses. Like, that's not... The 3 women you face, Serena, whoever, and the other one. It just absolutely fucking mind-blowing. But that is to say, the controls are bad. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. This is my last thing to say about gameplay, and then we can move on to visuals and sound. The wind level, jumping onto the little...
Fuck that wind level.
Like, it could have been cool. Like, they used updrafts and, like, little windmill things for you to jump on and to lift you up, and, like, tornadoes to take you places.
Yeah.
Nothing really new, but it can still be fun.
The new thing is the interminable wait between wind gusts. Like, usually you come to the edge of a precipice, and, like, if the upward gust is on a timer, it's like, oh, there's a 5-second window in between. You better time it right. But this is, like, I don't know, it's like half a minute. It feels like it's endless. You
have to jump on, like, a rotating platform, and if you miss it even by a millisecond, it is an instant death.
Yeah, and if you're like higher than 2 Sub-Zeros in the air, the fall damage is going to kill you.
Yes.
Coming out
every time.
Yeah, that wind level, I guess I'm not ready to move on yet. Fuck this level. Oh my God. Like, maybe am I regretting the 3? I'm having a moment here. Look, it's so sadistic. It's just so fucking cheap. Like, the constant sort of leaps of faith you're required to do because of, like, you're constantly just jumping into the unknown because you're not able to see what's in front of you. You have collapsible platforms. You have one-on-one battles with enemies on collapsing platforms along the way in between these wind gusts. You have like a 5-second window to get off of the platform, but there's an enemy on it, and you better be ready, and you better have changed your stance and knock him off as quickly as possible and ready to move on to the next platform. And if you don't, you're dead. And then you're going to the checkpoint, which is probably not close, and then a couple more, and then you're going back, just all the way back, right? One of those.
Can we also mention the fact that Oh my God, I completely forgot this. In the fire level, there is no way to avoid damage. You have to run through hot floors and lava and take damage. There is literally no way. I looked it up. There is no way you can avoid taking that damage. The floor doesn't cool down for a second and then you can run across it. No, it stays lava hot and takes life away from you as you go.
Bad design just down the line.
And the wind, water, fire, earth levels, they say you have to find the 3 symbols to represent those elements or whatever. They're the same goddamn symbol. They're the same symbol. All 3 symbols are the same symbol for every level. Change them. Just bad design.
And the obtaining of each symbol is the same. It's always, we've got multiple pathways, and you're going to go through this onslaught of bullshit that we're describing to you. And you're going to get to the end, and half the time is going to be a dead end because you need the key to get through the door. So you go back through the bullshit to the branching point and go up the elevator or the wind gust or whatever and try a different pathway in the hopes that you find it. And sometimes there's another additional pathway. You never know which way to go. You're constantly backtracking. And that, like you mentioned, Metroidvanias and like roguelikes, and like with a game where the mechanics are enjoyable, that's fine because the moment-to-moment action is good. But this is such just, you're just being run through the ringer constantly. It's so grueling.
It was so important for them to make a fighting game that they also decreased the respawn times for villains. You can kill someone and walk 3 steps away, and they respawn off screen and then absolutely destroy you.
Yeah.
Within 30 seconds.
It's like going back to the NES.
Yeah, there's no time for you to like take an herb or to think about where you want to go next. Nothing like that. No, respawn. You have to keep going. Move. Yeah. And that's just not, it's just not fun.
I think, I'm sorry, the more we're talking, it's not 3. I'm giving it 2. We're right here live. We're doing it, folks. We're dropping that score. Gameplay's at 2.
I am still sticking with my horrible 1.5.
Yeah, I just can't. I can't with this shit. I'm sorry. I'm being way too kind. We're not even talking about the bosses. Like the bosses, the fucking... So he's referred to the wind god, but I guess he was called Fujin later on when he showed up in the proper games. That fucking boss, I swear to God.
The tornado?
Yeah. It's so fucking difficult. He blocks all your shit. He swoops in from above. You can't get him when he's in the air. He does like a barrier twister. And then, just if there is a miracle, through just sheer will, you're able to get past this boss, which I eventually did. On the other side of the battle, suddenly he like disappears and then like respawns on like the other end of the screen and like sets off this giant tornado. And if you're not out of the radius of that tornado and already running away from it before it begins, and even then it's difficult, he sucks you in and it's an instant kill and you have to do the whole battle over again. Fuck this game. Fuck this game.
Not to mention the Chinook's, or not Chinook, Quan Chi's Fortress. It's just mini bosses, and they all have flamethrowers, and they all are just the big rock guys, but with flamethrowers again.
Yeah, we put a fucking red mech suit on the rock guy. Here it is.
Yeah, there was no clever character design except for the 3 female, like, I guess slaves of Quan Chi, which is a horrible thing.
Yeah, that cutscene that was peak porno vibes.
Yeah. But like all three of those characters had specific movesets that were pretty cool. Like one had a slashing boomerang. One had a fucking Link's Master Sword from Legend of Zelda and shot lasers out of it and shit. Like it was those 3 fights were pretty cool. Those were fine.
There's one other fight I have to highlight though, which is just it encapsulates everything I hate about this game. It's the rock god, the earth god. I want to say the big rocky boy. Yeah. The Thing, Fantastic Four.
Yeah, clobbering time.
I got fucking clobbered by that one. I was using save states. I was doing everything. I was using every little sneaky trick in the book to try and get through that. And it's just, you basically have the immovable object, but you are not the unstoppable force. Like he approaches you from the other side of the screen. You have to like slide to get past him, but I had trouble pulling off the slide. It's hard to pull off these combos for me anyway. So
well, I think maybe some of it is controller lag and the fact that, I mean, obviously we're probably using emulators, both of us.
Yeah,
like we're not playing on a original PlayStation, or maybe the fact is that the controllers are just absolute garbage.
Yeah, who knows? I haven't had this. Like, I've emulated before. This isn't my first rodeo. I've never had a situation like this. And I thought about, should I track down the original hardware for this one? No. Oh my God. I'm so glad I didn't do that. Not worth the effort, the time,
That's
the money.
Not worth the time or the money.
But that boss, you really can't do anything with him except like zip past him, get to the other end of the arena and drop down a platform that's intended to land on him and do the damage from dropping the platform.
But
right?
You have to do it like 3 or 4 times.
I had like 6 or 7 actually.
Really?
Yeah, I was counting. I was keeping track. Because like, this is just going nowhere. It's taking forever. And you have to do it so many times. There's such a wait in between. You pull the lever and it drops the platform onto the boss and he takes damage. And usually like 3, maybe 5 will do it. Usually we're dealing with odd numbers here. 7, and you can't see where he is. When you get to that end of the screen, you can't see whether he's under the platform or not because he's off screen. So you just have to like listen and assume that he's approached you enough, drop it in the hopes that he hits him. So when I say 7, that's generous because we dropped it a fuck ton more than 7 and just missed. Swing and a miss. Yeah. Oh my God. Fuck this game.
I would like to point out, before we move on to visuals, the Chinook battle is no fight. You don't actually fight him. You just take the amulet. He turns into this big fucking... I mean, honestly, it looked almost as bad as the animalities in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And then you just run the fuck away, and that's the end of the game.
Yeah, basically, like the last boss is really Quan Chi. You fight him, you take him down. Chinook appears, and you it's basically a matter of once you know what to do, which it took me a while. You freeze him, you just like hop over, you grab the amulet, and you get the fuck out of there through a portal.
But anyway, so this is... What I'm going into right now is a combination of both visuals and gameplay, so we can move into visuals.
Just to reinforce,
bad.
2, not a 3. Forget I said anything. Okay, so 2 for gameplay, and I think
you have
that's
a 1.5. Okay, so we are at a 3.5 for gameplay total. So visuals, the visuals are just classic Mortal Kombat. Everything is rotoscoped. All of the backgrounds are static. Nothing really groundbreaking here. I will say this: you do not want goddamn Mortal Kombat graphics on a platformer because there are segments of the platform like level where more than half of your screen you cannot see what your character is doing because they want to make it look as 3D as possible. So you're behind like a rock arch or something like that.
Yes.
So you're just getting your ass beat by a Shaolin monk and you can't see what they're doing or what you're doing the entire time because you're behind a wall of rock that is supposed to make it seem more immersive, I guess.
Yeah.
Suck my ass. Get out of here. I'm done. No. 2 out of 10.
Yeah, sometimes I kind of like, I mean, it is a cool effect to have something in the foreground, right, to give that dimensionality. But when that is done, usually it's a game that is moving fast enough that like you're not lingering in one area for too long. So it's like a millisecond.
Like a Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
Like, give me some Crash Bandicoot action.
But this, like, you're expected to be doing battle in a certain area. And like, that's where they choose to put the fucking rock face in the foreground to just obscure the action, like you're saying. Unforgivable.
Just a real bad move.
Yeah. I will say, so for me, visuals, like, it doesn't look good. It feels like the rotoscoping and the sprites have not progressed since the original arcade era of this game. Like I said, this is 97. We're dealing with Symphony of the Night. We're dealing with fucking Final Fantasy VII coming out this year. And even like side-scrolling platformers like Donkey Kong Country came out in 1994. We're like several years removed from that. And that looked so much better with just the lush, sort of vibrant faux 3D effect on these sprites.
The only thing that got better in this game, rotoscope-wise, visual-wise, is John Turk's beautiful, beautiful legs and ass.
Points for that.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
All my points in visuals are going to come from the cutscenes. The animation is lazy. It's usually like a 2-frame, like Sub-Zero is standing. Sub-Zero is like bow-legged in the air with like legs kicked out.
Oh my God. Every fatality was bad.
Yeah.
Like, this is a game that is famous. Like, a franchise that is famous for their finishing moves. And there was nothing.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing.
Right.
Like, this is after Mortal Kombat 2, where you had some, like, the animalities, you had the friendships, you had some really cool finishing moves that were a really good time. You do not have any of those fun visuals here. Like you said with Fujin, the wind god, he just jumps into a fucking tornado thing that is basically just someone taking a pencil and rubbing it very lightly over a page, and then all of a sudden his body just comes apart. Like, that's it. Like, that's all we get. The last thing I say about visuals is we're in the Fortress of Chinook. There are supposed to be symbols to recognize what level you're on per floor. Like, that is how you know where you are for the entire thing. They're so few and far between. They only show up next to the elevators. Everything is so samey. It just seemed like a group of people were like, hey, we have to throw this shit together real fast. Yeah. And they did, apparently. They got cut off by like 6 months in production of this game. And it's noticeable.
Yeah.
But there's nothing I'm impressed by except for the live action cutscenes. So 2 out of 10.
It's one of the lamest final areas in any game I've ever played. Like the final palace, the run up to Quan Chi and Chinook. It's like all, like you said, just the exact same gleaming marble hallway with the exact same very slow elevator in between the floors, and just that again and again, copy and paste. Occasionally you get like a swinging axe in the hallway. Yeah. That's about it. I did like the wind level, the platforms in the sky, some of the scrolling like in and out, the sort of camera moving in and out, and like the way they had the sprites moving alongside these, like on the wind level, as you're walking along, the 3-dimensional pathway comes like in and out of the foreground, closer to the screen, closer to the viewpoint. Like that kind of rotation, that scaling was kind of nice.
It almost gave me a seizure. And I mean that sincerely.
Really?
I had to stop I had a seizure a couple years ago. For those of you who don't know, I had to like get ambulance, go to the hospital, the whole thing. I couldn't drive for 6 months. It was fucking horrible. But watching this and listening to it, I was watching the speed run. I had to take the headphones off, put them down, shut everything off, and go and lay down for like 15-20 minutes. Jeez. Because I was so incredibly lightheaded and confused by the music, the sounds, and the sights that I was experiencing. Like, holy fuck, man. That wind level can suck my butt.
It's bad. Visually, though, like, it's hard for me to just remember, like, okay, yes, the gameplay sucks again and again. I'm reminded of that. Visually, like I was saying, the sprites don't look good. The rotoscoping hasn't progressed. The mixing of aesthetics, the 2-dimensional sprites and the 3-dimensional backgrounds, it's fine. It works okay. It's passable. When it hits, which is rarely, it is sort of reminiscent of the original games, which, like I said, I don't enjoy those games, but they are memorable, and particularly for the visual design. Those games, those original Mortal Kombat games, they were an event. They felt dangerous. It's like when you go to middle school for the first time and you see that first kid wearing the Marilyn Manson shirt, and it scares you. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
I don't know what this is. I don't have any conception of this, but it feels dangerous. It feels like something I'm not, like,
taboo.
This is new. Yeah. They had that effect, the fatalities, and just like the level design, right? The haunting sort of vortexes and like nether realm, like forests and acid baths with spikes, and and occasionally this pulls a bit from that. Like there's some nice, like, in the background, like the wind vortexes, the water level, the sewers or whatever, where you have like that sort of like cool teal lighting and like the water rushing underneath. And I think there's some pretty good music in that. I really actually did like when you go to NetherRealm and you're breaking out of the Prison of Souls, like you're in this sort of Blade Runner-esque, like orangey haze with like all the searchlights.
I could talk about the Prison of Souls for an entire episode.
There's like all this, like,
I was so fucking confused.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's confusing. But like, if I were able to look at the concept art, I feel like it would be cool, right? Like this very mechanized,
I would love to see the concept art.
Otherworldly prison with searchlights and mech enemies, and I don't know.
Mech enemies with big, like, fucking saw blades on their arms, but they had, like, there was a dinosaur, a dude riding a velociraptor at one point. There were chances to be fucking cool.
Yeah. So for me, like I said, teacher viewpoint, it fails, but it doesn't totally fail. There's something there. I give it a 4 in visuals.
Okay. I'm actually thinking of like going back and thinking about the water level, even though like the eels were garbage and the water thing was, but the lighting was cool, and the same with Prison of Souls. I'm raising mine up to a 3.
There we go.
So that is a 7.
Throughout this conversation, we're sort of realizing it's more about our like general takeaways than the number, right? Like,
sure,
yeah.
Going into sound,
yeah, I don't have much to say. I like the music in the sewer level. I guess there's nothing memorable. There's nothing.
It was a lot of
yeah.
That's about it.
I give it a 5, just like middle of the road. I can't even really tell you. I was trying to make notes on the sound. Like it all works.
I went with a 3.5. So
okay.
that's probably about right.
Yeah, it's passable. Things, you get sound effects where they need to be, and it's reminiscent of the action that you're performing. So okay, nothing memorable.
All right, there we are. Let's go into fun factor.
Save you some time. Big fat 1. No fun.
Really? Huh.
Can we
all
go?
Right.
I guess we could do a 0. Right? Is that as low as we
go?
No,
I'm surprised you went with just a 1.
As opposed to what?
I went with a 3.
Oh. I had no fun.
So I had fun with the live action videos.
Oh, well, see,
yes,
I mentioned before that I kind of like pulled that influenced my like narrative and visual score a little bit, the fun there. But
I added it into my fun factor because it was I think most of the only fun that I had.
You know, even if I account for those, like this game is so not fun, like it saps fun from your body. It saps your will to live, to just try and get through any portion of it. That cutscenes are not, it's just not enough to make up for that. Maybe we're in the negatives and the cutscenes bring me up to 1. We'll say that.
Yeah. If I was not playing Baldur's Gate 3 at the same time that I was playing this game, I don't know if I would have tried to jump in and played another video game after playing this. I think I would have had to take a long break from video games after playing this. It's the video game equivalent of getting food poisoning.
Yeah. It feels like fucking diarrhea on the screen. It plays like diarrhea. Just a big fucking wet mess that you just don't even know. You can't even wipe it up. Can't get your hands around it.
It's the first time you get too drunk on something and end up getting sick. And then for like the next several years, you're like, I cannot have tequila. Even thinking about it makes me ill.
Yeah.
That's how this was.
Yeah, and during that tequila blackout, someone was like, "Oh, by the way, I need you to program a video game and also like do half the voice acting for it. So go do that."
Yeah. Yeah. Just nothing enjoyable except for those.
Yeah, you're talking about
videos.
You're talking about Baldur's Gate. Like, talk about insult to injury. Just this year is going to go down as like one of the all-time greats in video games. It's just packed. Resident Evil 4 remake, new Zelda. Starfield, Armored Core is back. Oh my god! And I'm like ready. Like I've started my new game plus, but god damn it, I had to do this shit. Instead of playing Armored Core.
I am like 35, 40 hours into Baldur's Gate 3. Like I have made my School of Swords bard. He is beautiful. Like I am just into Act 2. And then this thing took like 25 hours of my life away from me.
Yeah.
And the only thing I enjoyed are the weird fucking porno mock-ups that don't even have any sort of nudity in the fun way. Like, it just has all of the shit parts of porn.
Well, you know,
including Quan Chi's gapped teeth.
We hate the game. We didn't have any fun, but let's try and have some fun. You saying that it reminds you of porno, I've got an idea. I have a little something I like to call Mortal Kombat. I thought this had such porno vibes, with just the way it's shot, the acting, the costumes that look like they're ready to just be pulled apart at the seams, like they're hanging together by a thread.
Serena got some, like, she has something in me. Like there was something there. Like little sorority Sindel, I was super, super attracted to, and I don't know why, but same thing. I mean, John Turk, the dude is fucking built. He can build my shed anytime he wants. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, build my igloo, I guess. Got to be a nice shed,
please.
Right? So I thought just let's see what we got. What's your best Mortal Kombat porno? Should I start us off?
You should start off because I only have like 2 good ones.
All right, so these are our best.
But I will do my best to keep up.
These are our best Mortal Kombat porno movie titles.
Get it?
Fireballs, starring Liu Bang.
Okay, I didn't realize we were going this far. My first one is Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
There it is. All right. Shadow Dick, starring Johnson Cage.
This one is a lesbian film just called Scissoring Kick, starring Sonya Blade. No change to the name. No need.
Get over here into my nether realm.
So this one's a little cerebral, but it needs to be done. Mortal Kombat, finish her because she deserves it.
We had the same idea there. I didn't have an actual title, but I just thought a general best practice for any of these movies is like whenever we hit the money shot, we need the sound drop. Finish him.
Or finish her.
Finish her. Yeah.
Also, going based on your Mortal Kombat, it's just Mortal Kombat.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, it was right there.
Yeah. Or, and this is I think my last one, Mortal Kombat.
Okay, that's good. Oh, I like that.
Another anal film.
What else? Let's see. I think I got a couple more here. Raw Dog, story of Kung Lao's missing hat.
Shouldn't his name be? Oh shit! I lost it. Oh fuck! That was good.
Let's see. I got 2 more here. Can I jacks off onto your boob, Cybot?
Oh,
AKA the White Load on Us Society.
That last one was very good.
And finally, just a call back to a personal favorite of ours, The Bone Throne, starring Bang Tsung and Sonya Lade.
Sonya Lade! It was right there! God damn it.
Just final note, in one of these movies, at some point when Scorpion appears on screen, I want to hear the words, "Is that your dead dad's magical harpoon in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?"
Also, anything involving Xiao Dong.
Oh, yeah. We could keep going here, but...
Yeah, we could play this game all night, but we really can't because for 2 reasons. One, we did not enjoy this game, obviously. So for fun factor, you gave it a
1.
You gave it a 1. I gave it a 3, which yikes. So ladies and gentlemen, just so you keep home, we're going to continue this rating system through any video game we cover. Gameplay, narrative structure, visuals, sound, and fun factor. For Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero, it is rated a 30.5.
17 from me, and 13.5 for you?
Yeah. I was very unforgiving. That's a 13.5 out of 50, apparently.
Yeah, so I guess we have a floor.
Yeah,
all
Jesus, no
subsequent
kidding.
games will be judged against, and hopefully we don't hit this floor again, because my God.
I think we both got very close to just giving this game a Sub-Zero.
I got very close to just launching my controller out the window and just giving it all, packing it in. I'm out.
My poor wife came in at one point while I was playing on the laptop, and she just goes, "Oh my God, are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm not okay." She's like, "You look so angry." Yes, I know. I am so angry.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever been this shade of red. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is our Mortal Kombat coverage.
Big wet fart. Don't get over here. Get far, far away from here. Fuck this game.
Hey, you know what? Don't play this game, but definitely read the novel by Jeff Roven. Definitely see the 1995 movie, maybe the 97 one, but I don't recommend it, but Brandon says it's pretty good.
No. That's a bit of a twist, but okay.
Yeah.
I think based on what, this is the wrap up. This is our experience with Mortal Kombat. I don't know if I had just experienced these, I think I would have treated it as, hey, that was a really cool movie from when I was a kid and a bunch of bullshit tied in with it. And I probably would not enjoy the franchise to any degree as like holistically, you know?
Yeah. So here's my thing. And maybe I'll get back to everybody come the new year. When Mortal Kombat 1 comes out, I am planning on playing it. After knowing the lore, watching the films, doing all of the research that I've done and learning all about all this fucking trivia, and surprisingly, Sub-Zero, Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero is canon, which blows my fucking mind. I am going to check this game out. I'm probably going to play Mortal Kombat 11, maybe Mortal Kombat 10. I want to play some of the old school, well, not old school. I want to play some of the way the game was intended to be ingested. Maybe I'll get to you guys come December, maybe come January, but I am definitely going to check out some of these games now that I understand how the characters work. But if this would have been me as a young preteen, I would have just tried to find the novels and just watch the movies. Like, there'd be no way I would have played games if this was the game that I was initially subjected to. Sub-Zero ejected to.
Big Sub-Zero for me. I think for me, it's the exact opposite. Like I was telling you before, I liked Mortal Kombat 11 quite a bit. And I am still interested in the reboot. But after this experience, it sort of like sapped my interest in the franchise for the time being. Like, I felt walking out of Rise of Skywalker was just like, I think I'm done with Star Wars for a while. Like, fuck this shit. Like, it was so bad that just you have actually killed my investment in this property for the time being. Like, it will come back at some point, but for now, and the amount of time I've devoted to it already, like, I'm going elsewhere with my time. You
had a real bad drunk and you got sick off of some Mortal Kombat. And now you can't drink it again for a good while until your body just says, hey, this isn't bad for me anymore. I totally get it. I have the same problem with Kentucky Gentleman whiskey. So with that, I think we're done with Mortal Kombat. We're moving on to spooky season. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that spooky season. Join us in October, where we start to cover for the entire month 2 of the largest horror movie franchises of all time, and I have never seen a single one of those films. I have. I'm still no expert, but this will be an interesting conversation for sure. Who is it? Is it Michael Myers? Is it Chucky? Got to tune in next time to find out. Yeah, that's called a teaser. So as per usual, quick housekeeping stuff as we go. Don't stop listening yet, because we have to say thank you to our patrons, Susie Daggs and Jacob Spindell, newest patron. All the love, all the friendship. Yes. And we shout them out because they are on our shout out Patreon tier, which is currently our only Patreon tier. But we love you both so much. Thank you. It means the world to us. And so do you, everyone who's listened and downloaded. Yeah, all the response we've gotten. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Please email us at sourcenotfoundpod@gmail.com. Find us on Discord at Source Not Found, and Patreon, Source Not Found Podcast. And Brandon, I know you're doing that Twitch, a little bit of that Armored Core 6, some Fires of Rubicon action. Finished Armored Core 6 on stream. We're doing another place where it's just full on spooky season on my Twitch, doing horror games all the rest of this month and the next. Currently working on the original Silent Hill. And then we're going to keep going through the series after that. Yeah, so come on by, say hi. Lejunebug, LEJUNEBUG. Love to see that weird pyramid headed looking freak. Oh, we're not there yet, but we're getting there real soon. And to end our Mortal Kombat coverage, we're going to end this episode and our Mortal Kombat coverage with just some of our favorite sound effects. Fuck this game, fuck this game, fuck this game, fuck this game! Finish him.